the feedback. Is there a lecture in here? Where's Neil when I need him? So if I look at this room, this is actually going to be one of our highest attended events ever. So thank you so much for coming. It's really exciting to see so many people that I don't know, which means that this year is just going to be really, really awesome. To those who are coming back for a second, fourth, fifth, maybe sixth, sixth, yes. Welcome back for another great year in UQCS. The committee this year has tried to hit the ground running and stay ahead of the ball on events this year, so you'll see that we've already got 3 weeks of events up on at least Facebook, and then we've got on our calendar, we have like 6 weeks up already, so expect plenty of notice so more of you can come. What else? We've got 12 events basically planned for this semester so far, and we're planning to add like another 6. So this is going to be a pretty busy semester, but we're accounting for some of those maybe drop off, we'll see. So basically, if you haven't already, check out Facebook and make sure you've seen all the events we've got coming up on there, and make sure you get going. Our sponsors really like it. On that note, we've signed 8 sponsors, and well, actually more than that now, and we're pretty much funded for the year ahead, so expect more and more pizza, and as well as more events, and expect more stuff at events as well, because we've got a lot of money to do some really cool things. So thank you to some of our sponsors: Atlassian, Technology One, Accenture, CodeBots, Grant Cold, OpenGear, Combank, Facebook, and Scheduler. A round of applause for them, please. So you guys know why we've hierarched them the way they are. So Atlassian and Technology One are going to be our 2 main sponsors for the year. They're coming in to give some awesome talks early on in the semester. I think Tech One's coming in next week, and they're going to be doing some site reliability engineering discussions, and they're going to be talking about their grad and intern programs. So I really hope you guys can all get along to that. Atlassian, much the same. Atlassian's coming in, we're doing Atlassian week, and we've got like 3 events with Atlassian, so get ready for more Atlassian. The other sponsors are all chipping in. They'll all be along at industry panels and other events that we've got for all of our sponsors, so expect to be able to ask all of these companies questions. So if you've got any like lingering questions about what it's like to work at Grant Cold, you can ask them then. So just quickly on what's coming up. So next week we have 2 events planned. First off, Harold Leo is on campus answering questions about getting you a job in tech, which if you haven't thought about it already, not sure why you're here. Harold's old school UQCS, and he's our go-to resource on questions in the recruitment industry. That's unmissable for basically all of you, so I expect to see all 100 of you there next week. Because he's just got the best brain on how to make sure you guys are getting a grad opportunity at the end of your degree. Thursday, you're going to get your first chance to like use those skills you learned from that Tuesday event, and Technology One's on campus, and so you're going to be able to talk to some great people from Technology One. Site reliability engineering, basically Tech One is enterprise software. There are 500 devs in Brisbane, and they're basically going to tell you how they keep their ships running. And then following that week, we have an awesome talk from Billy McDonald, and we've also got Tech One Big Game coming up. So if you want to know more, hit up the events on Facebook. While you're there, make sure you like, subscribe, and hit all the socials, because our sponsors really love it. Thanks, guys. And without further ado, Nick's going to tell you what he wishes he knew as a first year.
Before I get to that, there is a small note that I want to make. This is getting to be a really big community, and we want it to continue growing and continue providing the value to you guys that it has to all of us. In order for it to do that, though, we need to be mindful of who's here. We need to set aside some of the prejudices and take a step back and consider what we want to be known for. It's been brought up in the past that UQCS has not been an inclusive place for certain people, and that's something that that causes me some pain, because I know how much I've gotten out of it, and to think that anybody is missing out on that, I don't know. It's quite sad, to be frank. I am excited for the year ahead with all of you guys. I want to provide you guys the best experience, and it doesn't matter to me whether you're in tech or not. If you don't want a job in tech, you're welcome here too. All right, so as for things I wish I knew in first year, there are a lot. Thankfully, I've been around at UQ for a while. Before I studied software engineering, I studied finance and psychology. So I was introduced to UQCS before it got this big and before I started SoftEng. One of my first UQCS events was the AGM, I think it was 2014, and we were struggling to find 30 people to keep the club going, which to look at this room just seems ridiculous. UQCS is the first thing that I would recommend knowing about as a first or second year. There's just the events, the community, this body of people, and particularly the body of people that are available to you on Slack at your fingertips from all over the world, working at companies like Google, Facebook, and even small companies in Brisbane that are making as much of an impact on people. It's all there. All you have to do is ask. If you come to the community with earnest questions, you will get answers. And the experience and just the friendliness is something that, again, I wish everybody could know in first year. The place to find that community all of the time is our Slack. If you haven't joined it, slack.uqcs.org.au. We have channels, literally hundreds of channels for everything you can think of. These are just a few that I frequent. And there's also a channel dedicated to politics, which I recommend that you avoid. But you be dragons. Of particular note, given that this is an academic institution, you're here to learn, academic advice is a really good place to ask questions. Sometimes things don't go to plan in your university degree. Sometimes you may feel like you're getting mistreated. The people in academic advice are a good sounding board as to whether the blame for that lies on you, on the bureaucracy that is UQ, or particular courses and their coordinators. Free stuff. Now this talk is a condensed version of one that a former president gave last year. So thank you to Cameron. I've cut out a bit because I want you guys to find that information out by talking to the panelists tonight. So I just focused on sort of the boring, the most boring of that advice here. So also, opinions differ. Some people are very dedicated to their text editors. Be they Vim or the other one that we don't speak of because this is UQ and 2310 exists. The JetBrains IDEs are sort of first in class, and you can get access to all of them and all of their professional features for free just by virtue of being a student. You just Google JetBrains Education, you can get access to that. As for free stuff, pizza and stickers are something that UQCS can supply. If you drop by our stall on market day, you would have seen some stickers on the counter there. We have literally thousands of those UQCS stickers due to some clerical mishaps. So I fully expect to find that the university will be plastered with them by the end of the year. Thank you very much. I also have these. Now, these are going to go to the first 10 people that ask questions tonight. Just in case you're afraid to ask questions, I have incentives. These are Unix sticker packs. So if you want to be in with the tech crowd, and you want to plaster your $3,500 MacBook that Steve Jobs slaved over, and then the stickers, then I've got a handful of them.
Question on that? How many do you have to give away?
Sorry?
How many do you have to give away?
I have 10 packs.
Oh,
Does that count as a question?
That gets in one.
That does not count as a question. I've deliberately not put myself on the panel, because that's not an experience that I personally want. Thankfully, I have 6 very good friends that are willing to take that one for the team. Now, real talk. Your university, UQCS is one part of enhancing your university experience. There is so much more to this place than classes, and that's something that I have only sort of recently come to realize after 8 years at this place, with a bit of work in between, occasionally. I go on exchange, involve yourself in societies, come and join the UQCS exec when we have our AGM next year. There's so much that you can take from this place. And the university has sort of just started thinking about giving back. There's a room on the next, 2 floors up, big yellow room. It's called Idea Hub. It's run by a gentleman named Nimrod, great guy. He runs a startup adventure program where he will send you sort of all expenses paid to Tel Aviv or Shanghai or San Francisco. So I've just gotten back last Wednesday, just in time for a glorious market day where I got to meet some of you for the first time. I was sent to San Francisco where I worked with a startup called Patch, and that was a great experience. And that's just something that the university is giving away. They're sending 30 people to Singapore, and they're struggling to find applicants. So if you want an all expenses paid working holiday to a tech hub and some work experience to put on your CV, that's the place to find it. The other thing I'd recommend is getting involved in research. We have some great faculty at UQ and in ITEE. Some of them are in this room. And getting involved in research over winter or summer is a great way to interact with your faculty outside of class. Our classes are big. Sometimes they're 300, 400 students. And you don't really get that sort of interpersonal interaction. But if you go to work as a winter or summer research scholar, then you can, it's an amazing experience. You can get published, it's basically, again, paid work for the holidays in an interesting field. You apply to the projects that you think sound interesting, they screen you, and if you get in, you're effectively hired for summer or winter. And again, it's something that looks very impressive to employers. And if you want to get into academia, it's something that, it's your best taste of what an academic life is like, at least from the research perspective, not so much the bureaucratic side. The other thing, tutoring. If you've taken a class and done okay in it, then you can tutor that course. And I guarantee you that tutoring a course is the best way to get around that material. There are a lot of tutors in this room. There'll be some tutors on the panel tonight. One bald one that you can ask questions of. And you, again, just an amazing experience. You get to work with great people. There is a bit of bureaucracy involved, just a little. You can ask about that if you like. Bray might. Again, amazing experience. Pays really well. It's a bit inconsistent. You don't have any work over holidays, that sort of thing. Final thing, before I wrap up. Work experience. Some of you will be software engineers, software engineering students. You're required to have 450 hours of work experience in order to graduate. Your best way to get that is interacting with people in industry. Best way to do that, at least from my perspective, is talking to people who come along to our networking nights, coming along to giving talks. So Tech One are sending someone next week. If you think that you could work at Tech One, or even just want to know what that would be like, I'm sure Aaron would be willing to answer some questions. And as soon as you know people, as soon as you get immersed in this network and start building friendships and relationships with these kind of people, everything just starts to open up. It's a different kind of experience, and one that I've only just sort of found. But I think it's something valuable, and I think it's something that you guys would get value out of too. So now it's time for our student panel. I'll get our panelists to come down the front if they can. And again, you can ask individual panelists. I'll get them to introduce themselves one by one, or you can ask the whole panel and they can each give a different perspective, because there will be different perspectives. So, Tom, do you want to start us off?
I'm Tom Manderson. I'm the ex-president of UQCS. Tomorrow is my last day of working for 3.5 years as a professional Python developer at a company called Polymathium. I'm in my final semester of university doing a dual degree in software engineering and mathematics, and I'm moving on to freelance contracting as of a month ago.
So my name's James. I'm just a guy really, so I do computer science, mathematics at UQ, like year 3.5, something like that. So I've been in research at UQ. I currently work for the government, and yeah, I'm sorry, any questions you guys might have. So.
I'm Ryan. I'm in my 4th year of software engineering, and I'm part of the committee this year. Got 2 more years left. So yeah, any questions you got?
Hi, I'm Ella. I'm 2nd year Bachelor of Science major in Computer Science. I'm also a member of the committee. Yeah.
Hey, I'm Evan. I'm a 6th year at UQ. I am a tutor at the university. I also work at the university at ITS. Feel free to ask any questions about how the uni works.
So I'm Emily. I'm in my 4th year of a Bachelor of Science major in Computer Science. I'm doing thesis at the moment. And I also tutor for UQ. So I tutor 1001, 2002, 2010. I've done 3506. So probably courses you're all doing.
On that note, please don't ask when you're getting your grades back. Who wanted to take us for the first question? Yeah.
Can you tutor a subject that you got a 4 in?
Yes.
Like, yes, effectively. It depends on the lecturer, and different lecturers have different standards and stuff, but like, probably the best way to tutor a course you got a 4 in is to get really good friends with the lecturer to get more likely to even with your 4. Ideally, try not to get 4s, I guess, but yeah, some rules.
Technically, the rules say no. You get
But
that's just rules and technicalities.
The rules also technically say you can't get hired at the 2nd year, and we have any 2nd year tutors.
But we've all done that.
Can I take a question?
Sorry.
What's the hardest part of working in industry in tech?
Oh. So other than, there's a couple of things. Number one is dealing with unclear requirements, which you can kind of avoid in some parts of tech. Number 2 is clients, which you can also avoid. And then number 3 is just those mind-numbing bugs that like take you out of it for days and you never fix. And then you come back and it's all solved. But for that period until you solve it, it's terrible.
I guess to add to that, I'd say politics is probably something. See, when you work in a big company or in a small startup, you've got different teams that do their own thing, and they kind of get touchy about their sort of little corner, right? So chances are you're going to have to touch something that they've touched, and you just got to, be mindful of that. They've worked hard on that thing, and you're all in the same sort of like boat, right? So there's no point kind of clashing with each other, sort of like respect each other and get the job done, I guess. So.
For me, I'd say going into industry and working in a few places, it's sort of been understanding that people have been there for a long time, and you're not expected to be at the level of everyone else who works there. You're expected to come in and work and learn, and I think it's hard to get in there and understand that these people have been there so long, and they're so good. And it's like you come in and you're like, oh, I don't know how to do this or that, but it's a learning process. Everyone starts there.
I've never worked in industry.
Maybe getting the job then. But yeah, to be honest, I'd probably say working in industry is a lot easier and a lot funner than uni itself. So you can make it through uni, and you're probably going to be good for industry.
Yeah, I don't have much use for
there in the corner.
Does it matter whether you do a computer science degree, IT degree, or software engineering?
Pretty much no. Doesn't matter.
An important distinction to make is that if you don't want to do deco and you don't want to do eng, comp sci is absolutely the best choice.
Yeah.
Like, avoid all deco.
There is one other thing. If you're doing high reliability stuff, or you want to do high reliability stuff, sometimes you need a registered professional engineer to sign off on something saying it's safe, and you can only do that if you do an engineering degree. Most people don't really care about that, so.
Okay. Over the back there, white shirt.
I was just going to ask, what do you think would be the best way to get into a job with IT with no written experience or limited written experience?
Side projects?
Yeah, go for internships or like really short-term casual things, gigs as well. And yeah, like generally side projects. I mean, no one's going to expect you to know everything and solve all the world's problems day one, so yeah, just go for it.
I think you can get good grades, you can do side projects, you can talk to people. I think if you can work on your resume and get past the stage where they're just interviewing you, then it's a lot easier. They just care about who they're talking to. Yeah.
A little bit of shilling. You can rock up at the event that Harold's going to be talking at next week.
Will, right at the back.
Oh yeah. My question is mainly for Tom. You mentioned you're doing the dual degree of maths, and I'm just wondering which of the maths courses have you found to be, I guess, most relevant or
So operations research, Polymathian, the company that I'm just leaving, is an operations research company.
Yeah.
But operations research at UQ, we've got some really great minds in operations research. And the course is incredibly well taught, and for people with programming experience, it's also easier than your average software course. For math through to through the course, the hard part for the math people is the programming, the hard part for the software people is the maths, but it's not that hard maths. That's not to say it's easy, it's just less hard than the other courses. So that's really excellent. And then Math 3306 is a course I absolutely love. It's called Set Theory and Mathematical Logic, but it also includes computability theory at the end. Really hard course. The difficulty of the assessment varies wildly, but it's incredibly interesting.
Okay.
I have a quick question for James. I'm not sure why you want to get into a research program, and apart from high GPA, what else skills that you need to persuade for the supervisor that you are in for the role?
I'd say interest, right? Also meet your supervisor. Don't just send an application and just don't do anything else. But when you look at projects, look at things that, not just that you know, but something that you're actually interested in, or that you can be interested in. Obviously nothing is always perfect. And then when you meet the supervisor, ask questions, talk to them about that sort of interest, and there's always flexibility in terms of what you can do. Generally they're really open towards what you actually want to do as well. Related to their research, obviously, but like sometimes the approach is a bit vague, so that gives the opportunity to say, okay, but I can do this as well, or how about we try something similar, but in this direction. And yeah, just really sort of do your homework, I guess. If, like, say you want to do a project on quantum computing, for example, know a little bit about what you're talking about as well, and just do good research.
For those of you who had experience in the industry, how did you guys get into it yourselves, like your experiences or stuff first?
I've only been given my jobs. I got given my job from friends in this community, and then I got given my other job from friends in a different community. So I have friends. So I got my first job at the end of second year. I sent out a lot of resumes. A lot of people said we don't hire second years. I worked really hard on my resume to make it look good with the things I had, which was really nothing. I think I went to a careers fair, talked to a guy, my resume went through him. I interviewed well enough so they didn't care about my experience, and I got the job. So that was how it worked for me. talk to people, do well and everything. If you can interview well again, you can get to that stage. That's just cool.
For me, I had inside knowledge because I used to be a recruiter as well. So I'd say for two things, right? Your resume, you have to make it achievement focused. So there's no point listing your job duties. Like every programmer is going to be a programmer. They're going to be debugging things, right? So what recruiters like to see, because it gives them a better sense of who you are, is what you've actually achieved. Like that could be something really small, like I fixed this problem that was plaguing the system for like a week. It could be from your deco courses, for example, or just like some really difficult challenge that you've attempted. And at the interview stage, preparation is really the main thing, really. So before the interview, have a think about your answers, frame it in such a way that you can explain the situation as well as the result at the end of it. That saves them having to figure out what you actually did, for example. And yeah, and just have a go, right? The only thing that can, the only bad thing that will happen, obviously, is that you get rejected, but you can learn from that as well. If you do get rejected, ask for feedback, say, hey, what can I do to, come back later and, do better, or what do you think I could do to change, my weaknesses, stuff like that.
My experience with getting into industry is a bit different. I won the UQCS hackathon one year, and I basically got an internship straight out of that. But part of the reason I got that internship is a guy who was helping mentor knew me because the week before the hackathon, I'd gone to a meetup I found on meetup.com. Wholeheartedly recommend going to meetups. You get really engaged with the wider developer community in Brisbane, and they're all very welcoming. But yeah, I got that internship. From that internship, I got tutoring. From the internship and tutoring, I got my job at Polymathing. And here we are.
Also, we have a channel on Slack called Jobs Discussion. You can check your resume on there. People will give feedback. Also, Harold's event next week.
Thanks. So I'm in my third year of computer science, and I'm finding it really difficult to find inspiration for projects to work on so I can kind of hone my skills and stuff like that. Do you guys have any place where you could recommend that, where I can just build some stuff and have a lot of fun?
I mean, you can do open source stuff, but that's hard. It took a long time to find a project I enjoyed doing. I mean, I think once I found a project I liked, I was able to work on it a lot, but it's not easy to find something you want to spend a lot of time on.
Yeah,
so
the only thing I've really found is OpenCV, but that's really technical and there's a lot more math involved than I'm willing to participate in. So,
I actually also really struggle with coming up with project ideas. The thing that made it easiest for me was there would be stuff at work where I'm like, oh, I can improve this, but it's not really relevant to work. So I got into the MyPy Python type checker because we started using it at work. But if you don't have that, it is really hard to come up with project ideas. And so if you see a piece of tech you like, just make a worse copy of it.
Oh yeah, no, that makes sense.
Reinvent Tetris is something, right?
Yeah.
And sometimes what I do is I think about technology that I want to try and learn about and just make something small. It doesn't have to be fantastic. That's really common.
Logan?
Yeah, most worthwhile course that you did while you were here. So not just your easiest or most liked, but the one that you walked out of really going, that was worth it.
Yeah, Evan's
Image processing.
It's really hard to answer, mainly because it's still at uni. Hard to determine the impact. I really liked, I don't know if it's called CSC 3100, reasoning about programs. And then advanced operations research was really relevant for me personally because I was working at an ops research company. So those have both been excellent.
If you're having trouble thinking of projects, I guess, you could try a deco course. 2800 where you just shove in a group of 50 people and just build stuff.
2800 is good.
You learn by failing, you learn by working together, you learn by fixing things last minute before deadlines. It's also a lot of fun at the end, so yeah, go for it.
Yeah, I think I'd say 2800. A lot of it's really relevant for industry as well. I did it right before I went into my first internship, and they teach you a lot of stuff that's used across the industry. So I think DECA 2800 was good for me. A lot of people don't like it. It's a huge team project or different teams, but I love it.
I've done 6 courses, so.
As an electrical engineer, most of you probably aren't. There's a few core electrical subjects like ELEC 3400, which is a really good, like this is what electrical engineering is type course. Yeah. I know, but it's still good.
I agree that CSC 3100 was really useful for me, but it's very closely tied to my thesis, so that's like quite specific to me. There are a lot of like earlier year courses that everyone kind of has to do anyway that end up being really useful later on, like Math 1061, you end up using a lot of that in later courses, and like CSC 2010 and all the binary number representation stuff like that ends up being important later. So even some of the courses you kind of have to do are quite worthwhile.
Yeah, I saw on the Slack there was something called Dead Beef, about teaching about the ethical hacking. There's something I want to pursue further. I just want to know how much experience would you recommend before looking and joining the Dead Beef kind of society?
Maybe CSC 2010 at the very least.
Yeah.
Well, not necessarily that course. Some basic C programming.
Yeah.
Never been as well, but I hear it's quite good, so I recommend that you all do it.
So Dead Beef last year was all about C exploitation. Dead Beef this year is mostly about web penetration as far as I'm aware. So you don't even need that much C programming. It's going to be more about teaching you Kali Linux and those sort of web penetration tools. As far as I'm aware.
I was wondering, is practically like a program experience something you should expect to pick up a little bit in classes and build on later, or is it really something you have to do yourself to be prepared for the industry?
A lot of the ways that you'd be preparing to be doing all your job interviews, you'll end up having to go on to HackerRank or LeetCode or reading, what's the name of the book? Cracking the Coding Interview, which is a widely used book within the IT industry. So all the skills that you're taught during university may make you a better programmer, but it may not make you a good interview programmer. You need to be able to answer the types of questions that they'll be expecting to get your foot in the door. But after that, that's where most of your university fundamental knowledge is going to be expressed more.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think once you get in the door, I think uni prepares you for it. I mean, the more you do outside of uni, the more you're going to learn, the more prepared you'll be. But I think interviews are quite separate to how the industry is.
I feel like your degree is basically a guarantee of minimum competency, so you can rely on the fact that you have been taught the skills that you definitely need. But you can always do more outside that to learn more and be a better candidate.
I mean, you don't have to wait for a course to teach you something. If you like something, just do it.
In the middle, blue shirt, yep.
Any particular advice for a first year who really likes coding but is really bad at maths?
Don't worry. There's only like 1% of jobs that have you doing lots of math, like Polymathian, for example. But like most of the software jobs out there, you probably not be using a lot of math. If you do, you probably Google it anyway. Okay. Yeah.
Uni-wise, once you get past the first year math courses, you're pretty much set. You're good to go if you're doing engineering. Yeah.
Otherwise, you just don't answer.
Yeah.
Other than like 10, 60 minutes.
Green shirt up the back.
What skill or topic is most sought after, or like is on demand? Like it may not be something that's correct, but like, what do they seek more? Any topic or skill?
Blockchain.
That might be a good question next week for Harold.
Yeah.
To be fair, fair. But yeah, not a tech recruiter. Yeah, no.
I'm a year one student learning machine learning in UQ, and are there many working opportunities for students in this major?
Your first year undergrad?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I found some jobs that are undergrad. And you can do data science, machine learning work, but I think it depends. I think there are fewer machine learning jobs that I've seen for students than there are just generic programming jobs.
Try a winter summer project. Machine learning comes up every so often.
Right.
What are your thoughts on attending lectures and other?
He says, we're sitting next to a lecturer.
Attend Joel's lectures.
Yes.
I watch all my lectures. I don't go, but I do watch them all. Tutorials, if it's convenient. But I still do all the content, so I guess that's where it really hits the nail. If you're still going to do the content, I don't think it really matters, depending on how the tutorials run and whether you're there. If it's one where you go and you're just sitting in groups doing the questions, if you can do the questions already, then just do the questions that are given so you have that practice. But yeah, attendance, it really depends on the type of course it is. And with lecturing, I'm very comfortable watching lectures at faster speeds.
I actually go to the first couple of weeks just to make sure the lecturer is going to do the right thing with recordings. I say that because I'm doing complex analysis right now with Back 3401, and the lecturer writes on the blackboard, physical blackboard, so you won't see anything. He takes photos. Yeah, he takes photos, so you can look at the photos and listen and try and follow. But yeah, so go to the first couple of lectures at least, just to make sure that.
Bit of controversy. I'm a serial non-attender. One thing I have learned is math tutes are basically compulsory to attend because if you don't go, you're going to stuff up. Other than that, it depends how well you know the content. You can use assignments along the way to judge how well you're going. If you're getting marks that you're not happy with, I would suggest attending more. But if you're going fine, it's not that hard. Could be worse, right?
I agree with Evan though, it depends on the course. Like there are some courses that part of the course experience is that you go to like if you're doing CSSC 2310, you kind of have to go to the lectures, otherwise you don't see the props and the wild shenanigans happening. So there are some things that you do want to go to, like even if you could watch them at home, you'd probably enjoy it more if you're like actually present. Things like 2010 labs you probably want to be at because they are how you get taught how to do the mid-sem like practical exams. So some things, like there are exceptions, but generally speaking, you can probably get away with not.
Be careful about content that isn't in the slides, but they do say. So that's why you still have to watch it at some point.
Also just the motivation of keeping up with the lectures, because I got behind on a few lectures last sem, and you lose a bit of motivation to keep up if you're like 5 or 6 lectures behind the current board. So.
It's easier to keep going to lectures than it is to keep watching them day after day after day.
Yeah. For someone who doesn't do that much coding and is pretty like amateur, what like online resources would you recommend if they don't like study coding or like computer science or anything at UQ?
There's a ton of things online you can do. I think you can. There's just so many good places to start. I think if you think you're an amateur, think you don't have enough experience, then there's probably nowhere specific you need to go. I think you can learn a lot by just diving into something and going into almost any online resource.
To name a few, there's probably Coursera, Udemy, edX courses, MIT Open Coursework. There's more every year.
Yeah, CSC 1001. It does have the resources online, so you can always look them up.
The library also gives you free access to lynda.com. which has a whole host of like tech-based courses, video-based and anything for those to go as well.
It's more important that you pick something and do it rather than deliberating about what's the best thing to pick. So, yeah.
Video slap just goes another one.
Okay, again, any tips on how to select a course to do, an elective?
Ask academic advice.
Yeah. So I think most of my choices for courses are based on what people have told me or going on Slack and saying, what do people think is a good course? I'm doing CSC 3100 right now because Tom said it's good, a lot of people said it's good, so that's why I'm doing it. I think generally if people have done the course, they're going to be able to recommend it.
Yeah. How do you deal with imposter syndrome and just feeling like you don't deserve, like you just suck at coding at work?
Yeah, I think you go in and people know a lot more than you, right? You're committing things, people are like, change it this way, change it that way. I think it's something that takes time, and you need to understand that everyone starts there. Like, no one goes into their job and just completely has no errors, they're doing just as well as all the team members. You can't, no one expects that of you. Everyone expects you to be learning and constructing because no one just jumps in somewhere and doesn't.
Yeah, even someone that's spent 20 years as a developer might struggle with a new concept. So it happens all across the board.
And teams work very different ways as well. So one team, you might be doing something similar, and you go to a new team, they do something completely different. It's not anything strict that you can always have.
I might just say something on that point before, I know it's not about me. But, developers in industry getting paid hundreds of thousands of dollars a year, go to work every day and Google the answer. That's basically the job. It's just that they've been more persistent at Googling and trying when they couldn't find the answer on Google. Any more questions?
Yeah. Is there any software books you recommend?
The Structured Coding Interview, Gang of Four is like design patterns. If you like object-oriented code, I've heard Clean Code is a really good book. There's a lot of good stuff out there, but again, if you ask on Slack, everyone's got an opinion. I thought this was good. Because we've got almost 2,000 people there, you ask any question, you're going to get a ton of opinions. I think when you get a ton of opinions, you can sort of make your own choice.
Any more questions? Yeah.
Yeah, what's the work environment like in those places?
Very wildly. Startup, enterprise, consulting, all different.
I just try to think about more about the work you want to do rather than the place you want to work. For me, that's what I do.
If you've seen Silicon Valley, that's a remarkably accurate satirical take. Well, it's remarkably accurate in the US. You can peel back some of the Americanisms and you can approximate what it's like here. But you're better off asking individual people about what individual workplaces are like and piecing it together yourself.
Question? Yeah.
So in regard to tutoring for these courses, how do you answer really difficult questions that students sometimes give you? You just go, I don't even know where to start, you know? Because that's my theory. You think, oh, I could tutor, and then if they ask me that question, no, I'm out.
In an ideal situation, there's a senior tutor in the room that you can just defer to. In other situations, you direct them to the answer, where hopefully the course coordinator will be able to answer their question. But generally, the rule of thumb is that you shouldn't like blatantly lie to them and pretend you know what you're doing, which some tutors do. So probably don't do that. Just rather be honest, be like, let's Google it together. I have definitely done that a number of occasions. Like, they don't expect you to know everything, most of the time. And yeah, so that's generally a reasonable approach.
I think as a tutor, you should be able to have the skills to be able to try and break down whatever question they're trying to ask you into the parts of I have no idea, and the parts that I sort of have ideas. But yeah, a lot of the time it's more, even when it is one of those types of questions, and whether how much time we can spend on it as well. So generally, even if we knew exactly what it was and it was a very complicated thing, we would have to stop partly because there's other people in the room, other people that need time. So we generally have to try to
get them to ask it on other resources where we can spend a lot of time answering or researching and then giving a proper answer. I don't know.
For a long time since I tutored, but I would very, very frequently resort to, hey, I'm not sure, let's Google this to double check, or let's try this. I was tutoring CSC 1001, let's get up idle and we'll try this, just typing it in. And that kind of approach where you show them how you personally go about finding out the answer is generally very effective. But like Evan said, if it's too complicated to get to the answer, you do have to stop and spend time with the other students. So you can kind of give them some search terms for Google or point them to some documentation and let them work out their own answer.
Cool, thanks. It really helps asking questions too. I didn't even think about that.
Yeah. Favorite software language and why?
You can start down the other end.
Well, I'm a fan of Lisp and Rust. Why? Lisp, barely anyone knows it. So, Rust, barely anyone knows about it. It's also fun to brag about. But yeah, especially in UQCS, there's a lot of people that are really strong about certain languages. Rust being one of them, and the reasons why I like that language is because it's doing things a little bit differently than we used to in some of the classical languages, and it really feels like it's like a new way, a fresher way, not stuck in Java. So yeah, that's why I like those languages.
I only know a few languages, but I'd have to say Java because it's probably the best one I know at the moment, to be honest.
I'd say Kotlin because I have started doing more Android programming recently and I've really liked it. And the language itself is like Java, but you take a lot of bad things out of it and put a lot of good things into it. And it's just really, I've been writing it over summer and it's something I really like to write.
Python because it's beautiful and open source.
I'm a huge programming languages nerd, so I have opinions about pretty much all of them. But yeah, it's already been called Haskell. Haskell is a programming language which is structurally inspired by category theory, which is a very abstract field of maths. But because it's so abstract, it gives you really sound mathematical properties that let you reason about your code really easily. So thinking about how different bits of code are reused is very simple. And then incredibly good type system that lets you express constraints on types, really powerful stuff. And it's got a thing called ad hoc parametric polymorphism. Type classes. It's like classes and interfaces, but actually good. I can go on a big rant about it. Feel free to come ask me or post in functional on Slack or.
Oh, and then I guess back to me. It depends on what I'm doing. Like I have different things that I like using based on like the job that I'm doing. I like using Python just because it's very easy. Like it's very like, you just write the words in like a sentence and it works. In Deca 3801 last semester, I used Dart and Flutter, like Flutter framework. So if you're doing like app development and you really don't feel like looking at the gross normal app development stuff, would recommend looking at those, like a plug for those.
Okay, yes.
Yeah, along the same lines, what's your favorite IDE and why?
This one I will start with. I will plug JetBrains that Nick mentioned earlier. JetBrains has a very, very good selection of IDEs. They have one for basically any programming language you would want to use. They are basically flawless, and I would invite anyone on this panel who recommends using other things over those. There are other good ones, but they make a really good thing.
I moved off of JetBrains because it's running a bit slow, it's a bit sluggish. I've sort of transitioned away from using what you would call an IDE more into just normal code editors like VS Code and such, because they provide you with basically the same amount of benefits. Everything's just a little bit more disconnected, but that's the way I like it.
JetBrains.
Yeah, I don't really choose anything. I think it depends on what I'm doing. I like VS Code. I like a bunch of different things. JetBrains are good. It's just
Yeah, I'm the same. The only time I ever use an ID, I think is for like Python and Java. For most other cases, I'd use things like Atom because you can basically turn that into an ID with all the plugins. And just make it your own sort of toolkit really. So I'd say find stuff that works well for you.
JetBrains. I actually have a bit more nuanced take on JetBrains. It provides an ID for basically everything. But if you just use their Java ID, IntelliJ, you can install the plugins for everything else. So most of the language-specific IDs have a few more features maybe, but the plugin will lag at most 6 months behind in terms of features. So you just install the plugin for your relevant thing, and that way you've got the one ID for any code you're writing.
There's also a lot of customization for a lot of IDs, so like you can make it how you like it.
You can also make your own JetBrains ID if you want. The base of it's open source, so you can spin up your own.
Okay, yeah. I feel like it would be a computer science panel if we didn't ask the age-old question, tabs versus spaces.
Depends on the language.
Yeah. Some languages it's forced. I like that.
Depends on the project because sometimes the style guide is unavoidable.
I agree that it depends, but also spaces.
I'm going to ask another one of those questions. Light theme or dark theme?
Until everyone.
Just for everyone in the room, what's all your slide names?
I'm TRM.
What's my slide? That's my slide. Yeah, it's something starts with J, pretty sure. J and Ron maybe?
Oh, it is too.
Is it? Yeah, no, go.
Mine's the word lighthouse without the last two letters.
Mine's just Ella, but I've got the Spanish Inquisition next to it. So.
Mine's WBO.
I'm Emily. I don't talk ever, but I lurk like everywhere. So.
Do we have any more questions? Yes.
What's one course you regret taking or you think is not worth it? Attention.
Decker 2500, that's a terrible course. Oh, also INFS 3204, which is now a different course code. I think it's cloud computing now, but that was also a terrible course. Would not recommend.
Eng 1100 and strong. There you go.
I took Stat 2203 last sem, dropped it and have to retake it next sem, so not
I've done all my compulsories first, so I'm starting to do my electives now, so I don't really have a choice on anything I've done so far.
Sadly, probably Deco 1400 because I ended up learning more than that course offered in like a few weeks because they assume, for a good reason, they assume you don't know anything at all. So it goes at really slow pace. So if you are pretty decent at learning like the basic coding stuff, you might want to pick a better method to get more out of it, I guess. But if you start from zero,
Decker 2500 was really not enjoyable, but it changes like every second year completely, so you can't really comment. I hated CSC 3002.
Both compulsory courses.
Both compulsory. One that was an elective is Comp 3702, AI. It was really poorly run for a few years in a row. It's got a new coordinator this year, but that was not fun getting assignment 1 marks back after I submitted assignment 2 and assignment 3 was due the next day. I mean, it's a 3 assignment course. This is week 12. The people the next year had worse.
Just to really stir controversy, what OS do you use and why?
I use Linux and Windows because Linux is better for dev, but I like my video games.
It's true, that's what he said, yeah.
Yeah, I run Windows for gaming and then OS X for coding.
You?
Same as Tom.
Yeah, Windows most of the time.
I love that you're expecting so much content.
Well, I run Manjaro.
Okay, well, what Linux distros
learned Ubuntu, so Ubuntu with XFCE.
I'm still deciding actually. I'll be trying to. My main one's Ubuntu right now because it's already set up and I don't want to invest with that.
Yeah, I run Kubuntu, so another flavor.
Fedora.
Okay. Yeah.
Just wanted to say, Android versus.
I'm going to call it there. I'm sorry. Is this a serious question? I'll go back there. No.
Android.
Because pizza is still a few minutes away, I'm going to be really mean and I'm going to ask Ryan to tell us what he did this summer.
Okay, so I went down to Sydney to work for one of our platinum sponsors, Atlassian. I worked there for 3 months at their office and I had an awesome experience. They're recruiting for grad and they'll come around in around week 6 to do a bunch of talks with us. People there are really awesome, the work is really cool, the offices are great, the pay is awesome. So yeah, that's what I did over the summer. I did Android, so Android. When you start working in industry, you might hear of something called Jira. I worked on Jira Mobile over the summer. I recently started doing more Android, and I decided I really liked it. So I went there. They sort of asked me what I wanted to do. I said either back-end or Android. They put me in an Android team, and it was just a really awesome experience. Yeah, that's about it.
Okay. James, because I also know your story, and you've got something to tell.
What, in summer?
Yeah.
So in summer, I joined one of the labs at UQ, the STEM group actually. So that's the Code Innovation Group, specifically the Social Robotics Lab. And I basically worked on, well, investigated different methods of using OpenCV and other computer vision techniques to explore how we can recognize sign language in a real-time sense rather than, say, looking at videos or images. So yeah, that was my summer. It was really open-ended as well. Literally go in any direction. You also got paid for it because you got a scholarship. So if you, and you also get to network with a lot of different researchers who are really good at their stuff. They're really well published in the field, so I highly recommend giving it a go if you're even slightly interested in research or just want to do something interesting over summer. And it's also not a full-time commitment, so you can still go to the beach.
What did you do over summer, Nick?
Oh, I also participated in the summer research program here at UQ in the city group, working on a different project, automatic speech recognition for low resource languages, which is basically bringing your speech recognition engines, the things that power Google Voice or whatever it is, and Siri and Amazon's Alexa to languages that don't have thousands of hours of transcribed data to train those machine learning models on. So we used a library, a big, disgusting library from Johns Hopkins University called Caldi. For those of you in the audience that know what this means, it was 40% comprised of Bash scripts, 40% C++, and the rest was a mixture of Perl, Python, and a little bit of Lisp. It was an experience. Basically what we did was write Python wrappers around all of that that just called the C++ binaries. And we put a pretty GUI interface over the top of it so that linguists can use it without having to have a computational background like the guy at Johns Hopkins that wrote this. It's still cutting edge, but it's written like it was written in the 90s. And yeah, that's, and then I sort of they allowed me to leave early from that program to go and do the San Francisco startup adventure that I mentioned earlier. Emily, what did you do this summer?
I mean, this is so. For anyone doing 2002 at the moment, I spent the summer working with Bray, the person who got banned from asking too many questions, working on 2002, and so we're on our 6th coordinator in 5 semesters. So there's been like a bit of a rough patch for 2002 happening. So I was working on rewriting some of the stuff and made a bunch of cool guides. You're welcome. So we've just kind of been working on that over the summer. It's not typical for tutors to do, so it's not something you can like apply to do, sorry, but like that's what I was working on.
And I did that so that when you guys, those of you who are taking 2002 this semester, if there are delays in getting your marks back or things aren't going exactly as you planned, take pity on your tutors.
He says also being a tutor for the course, so he's
that's me. I legitimately forget about that right there. So yes, please take pity on us.
Just a quick comment. There is something you can sign on for to do that, maybe not that demanding, but that kind of work. And it's called the UQCS initiative with the student staff partnership.
Yes.
I don't know, you get paid less than minimum wage.
It's actually basically slave labour.
Yes, basically.
We did see that come across the Slack, and people did make. We take a rather dim view on people taking advantage of members offering work and not offering to pay, or offering to pay rates below minimum wage, or for instance a certain incubator on campus offering fridge space in exchange for a summer internship.
The fair work emoji gets a lot of use.
So we, like, the community has your back in that regard. Like, we're doing our best as UQCS, working with the sponsors to bring you as many job opportunities as possible. But people will post other job opportunities in the jobs bulletin channel. So you can sign up to that and get notified when those things go out. When they join the channel, when people join the channel, or if you join the channel, you'll get a big flurry of messages explaining the expectations that the community has for.
No, when you join, it tells you this is what our expectations are. What the expectations are for the community when you post a job there.
So people can post unpaid internships, but there are very strict requirements at a federal government level about what constitutes an internship that's allowable by law in that regard. So again, community has your back. If you have any questions about your current work circumstances, come to Jobs Discussion Channel. We're not lawyers, but we do know roughly what is and isn't allowed, and like how you should be being treated, and sort of we can direct you to your sort of avenues for recourse.
And all you guys would be worth getting paid. You guys are worth it. You should earn some dollars for the work that you do, all the hours that you have to do to get your degree.
And there's enough paid work going around that if you're feeling like you want to stoop to the level of taking an unpaid internship, just ask in Jobs Discussion and someone will point you to something better that's paid. Someone will probably try and hire you.
Yeah, we did have that exact situation happen recently, and someone was
just before getting shafted.
Yeah, someone was in a really bad position. They came and described. Would you like to describe your situation?
Okay, so UQ has a thing called the Intern Summer Mixer or something, so you can go there and repeatedly get shafted by 1 billion unpaid internships. And I didn't know anything, so I just took one. And at the end of my unpaid internship, they were like, all right, you're not an employer, you're a contractor. You get $20 an hour. And then I was like, what does this mean? So I went to, I don't know if it's good or bad, right? Because like it's my first job ever. I thought it was pretty good. And I went into like job advice and they're like, dude, that's not good, man. You're getting taken advantage of. And this guy right here, he like messaged me privately. He's like, hey, we're looking for casual positions. Would you like to just have a chat? And I was like, yeah, okay, that sounds cool. And then we talked, got along well, passed my resume, got an interview, and then I start on Monday, and it was just really cool, eye-opening experience, and UQCS just really got your back.
And also, CodeBots is the company, one of our sponsors. It's a good environment to be in. There are people that can have the connections, and things come up. Like a lot of us, once you get further into it, once you've been doing this for a while, things will come to you. People will come to you and offer you jobs or sort of contract work, and a lot of the time you're not going to be in a position to accept that, whether because you've got too many classes, you're already doing something part-time or full-time, and the first response when that happens is, oh, but I can recommend this person. It happened to me twice last week. And I, like, the UQCS community is who I look to, like, to share those opportunities.
Yeah, I think the UQCS community is like so valuable. We've got so many alumni, people give job referrals, people are so happy to give advice. Like, I think it's not how I got my first job, but I think it's been one of the most valuable things that I've done at university. And I've learned a lot more. Being around people who are smart, successful, and keen to learn makes you more keen to learn and smart. All that. So yeah, definitely recommend getting heavily involved.
Okay, Cameron.
So what Slack channels would...
Politics.
Don't do it. Yeah, you will regret graduating politics, unless you're really into it.
Unless you like a chuck every so often.
Yeah.
Stuck to
Yeah,
a chuck. Participate in yourself. Just watch.
Just chuckle is good for the
Yeah, like all the jobs ones are good. Jobs discussion, jobs bulletin. You can see so many jobs. If anyone works for a place and that place starts hiring, they just chuck it in there. Great place to find work. You can also ask, is there a good channel for this in like our general channel, and people will point you in the right direction.
We've got a lot of channels. One way exists.
Yeah, like, pretty much one for every course.
It's Rule 34 for Slack channels. The weather channel. Oh yeah, there's the radar channel. You get the weather radar updates. That's cool. Really easy answers are course channels for any courses you're taking or tutoring, language channels for any languages that you're learning, have learned, or are passionate about. If you're learning or using Linux, get in the Linux channel. Holy Wars is always good for some shit fights. Join functional so I can chill to you.
Not only is academic advice useful, but it's also like surprisingly spicy most of the time.
There are a lot of tutors. There are a lot of opinions about the way things are run. UQ is a massive bureaucracy, and things don't always go according to plan. I would say they go according to plan, really. But it's interesting to work.
The food channel.
Yes.
Coffee.
There are lots of hobby channels. So I know there's like automotive, mechanical keyboards.
Yes. Yeah, a lot of channels of people talk, like there's always people talking at UQCS. Like you wake up, you look at something, and it's like 3 a.m. People were having this long, drawn out conversation about whatever.
If you're in more than 10 channels, you will always wake up with something unread.
Yeah. So definitely.
I mean that in a good way.
And when I said there are people in there from all over the world that are into, like you get Dave, and from there at Google and in New York at Hudson River Trading, on there like posting in the morning in response to something that happened several hours ago. And it's always interesting to see perspectives from the other side of the world, even if they are from UQ alumni.
Ooh, adulting is a good one. I learned how to be an adult. Little Tony comes in the money channel as well, tells me everything I'm doing wrong.
Yeah, if you need personal finance advice, go to Reddit first because the wiki there is good, and then come to UQCS Money.
Yeah.
You mentioned like the hackathon earlier and stuff, so like with events like Dead Beef and all that, for those kind of interested in cybersecurity, like should we just kind of throw ourselves into like the hackathon even if we're not?
So the name hackathon has misled you. The name hackathon comes from you're hacking something together and you're producing a product at the end. Not necessarily a product to sell, but some piece of work at the end. It's not actually hacking something. Dead Beef, however, definitely get along to that if you're interested in security, and join the security channel on Slack. There's one of those two.
And if deadbeat isn't enough for you, the QT has just started a new, at QT they've just started a new club called White Hats. They're sort of running you through from beginning to end in that space in preparation for a big actual hacking tournament in the second semester.
Also, the security course at UQ, the intro one is run by someone that works at Telstra in industry. He literally just is hired like casually to run the lectures here. So he's really good and he'll pull you into things if you want to go with him.
More just a related comment to this entire talk in general that Nick reminded me of. You mentioned QUT. There's always, you love to joke about the rivalry, but you'll get a lot of value by attending things that QUT puts on. So I've made a lot of friends through QUT Code Network, which is an excellent society. And if you want to see what they've got going on, something interests you, they're very welcoming with UQ students.
So we're working a little bit more closely than we have in the past with them this year. We've sort of coordinated so our events don't clash for the most part. Their usual weekly events are on Monday nights over at Gardens Point campus. We're Tuesday, Thursday for the most part, as Jack mentioned, except for the 1 week when the big game is on. And White Hats, I mentioned before, is on Friday, and Deadbeat is on Wednesday, which is very convenient.
Does QUT have pizza?
Yes.
Do we have pizza?
Yes. There is pizza on the way, and again, clerical error, probably too much pizza.
No such thing.
You just watch.
It may have contributed to the delay because of how much we was.
Any what, sorry?
Game jams.
Game.
You might want BGS.
Video Game Society. We are doing a combined video games, board games, UQCS event in week 4. I don't know what week it is.
Week 7.
Week 7. Okay. But yeah, if you want to come along then.
Game Jam is hackathons or games.
Yeah. Okay.
We don't.
We don't. I know like a few friends of mine and I in the lab that I work in are doing Pi Week, which is Game Jam weekend in Python. But reach out on the Slack and ask if anybody's interested. I know there are a few that run through in Brisbane throughout the year. Obviously, because QUT has more of a focus on it, they have a degree in it. Most of the events tend to happen over their way, but you're more than welcome to go along and take UQCS with you. Cameron.
Just to add on to that, for the UQCS hackathon 2 years ago, I made a game for that, and I think we came third in the end. Gave everyone a chance to play it there. Also, there's Little Dare on the left, is also a great online resource for game jams.
Yeah.
I was actually just going to mention Little Dare.
Okay, cool. Do we have any more questions? I could ask someone awkwardly what they did this summer. Oh, sorry. Yeah, go for it.
So obviously last year was my first year at UQ, probably first year really doing any coding. The hackathon, which we hold in semester 2, was probably my first time working on any project where I was in a team with 2 other second years. We got in and decided to work on Boom, which I'd heard of once before that event. And I'd probably honestly say I learned more over the 2 days of hackathon with my project and looking at other people's projects than I did from a lot of my courses last year. So I also forgot that my midsem was on whilst hackathon was on. So I advise to check that. But hackathon was something I found really worthwhile last year. So keep an eye out for that. It was really great.
It's also like a lot of free food. And not just pizza. Good free food.
We feed you like 3 meals, 2 meals a day?
Oh, no, breakfast, lunch, dinner.
Yeah, 3 meals.
Good way to spend the weekend.
Yeah, you don't even have to build anything. Yeah, you can just come along, have fun, and do your uni work, and you get food.
On that note, the university also hosts GovHack, which will be a few weeks after our hackathon in second semester. Same deal, you can rock up, participate, or not, and get food. And we'll be working a little bit more closely with them this year. And we'll also be running confirmed as of today in midsummer break Django Developers workshop with UQCS providing some mentors and UQ providing funding and venue. So if you've got some Python experience, if you've worked with Django before, just reach out to me on Slack, and we can get you in there as a mentor, and then we'll try to go back as well. Yeah.
For all of the events that you guys like host or like hackathons and things, you need a laptop because I think I've like 2.5 years on pen and paper for all my coding subjects and stuff. I don't have one. Do you need one, or are they there?
Yeah, we've never been we've never had a venue with computers there. Normally it's in the advanced engineering building. There are computer rooms near there that we might be able to.
Yeah, Slack card access if you're doing any IT or software subjects, and it's literally 20 meters down the hall.
Okay.
So it's close enough.
Yeah.
You'll see the food coming in, so you won't miss out on it.
I know for first years they had those laptops available at the first year learning centre that you could lend for a bit. Was there, is there any service that I think at least applies? Does anyone know?
I think it's just first year. You can only do it for like certain. I don't think they send out laptops just in general.
Okay. You can always ask if someone in UQCS has a spare for the hackathon. Yeah. I have several not very good spares.
Yeah. I think, yeah, I still have a crappy PC. So.
We've got a hardware challenge.
See, yeah, this is the community at work. I've just been informed that there is pizza. So